For me, I think it's got to be the Browns-Ravens game. And you asked about headlines. Here's the headline I am predicting. Myles Garrett, MVP.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw, there was a Myles Garrett. He had 3.5 sacks last weekend. I feel like people aren't talking about that enough. The play that really stood out to me was at the beginning of the fourth quarter against the Titans. He got a delay of game out of the Titans because he kept just walking around to the other side of the offensive line. They had to send 2 guys to follow him to triple team him. And then, Myles Garrett is just that good. And this Browns defense has been clearly the best in the NFL, right? I get that the Bills defense has been good. They've been putting up those sack numbers. But this Browns defense has been able to consistently generate pressure. The corners have been good. The linebackers can tackle, right? They've been able to shut down everyone they've played.
Meanwhile, not enough people are talking about that at all.
No, I mean, this is the best defense in the NFL by a country mile. And Deshaun Watson looked good last week against the Titans, right? The Titans, I'm not saying they're a great team, but beating them 27-3 means something. The team looked good. Meanwhile, you've got the Ravens. They're coming off a brutal loss to the Colts. They're trying to jockey for position in the AFC North. Lamar Jackson is coming off another great rushing game, but another one of those games where Lamar Jackson puts up incredible numbers and doesn't come home with the win. They're definitely feeling a lot of pressure. And of course, I mean, the Browns going to Cleveland. This is one of the most brutal rivalries in the NFL. This could be a great game.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Not enough people are talking about the Browns defense. I said Buffalo was second in the league in yards allowed at 253.3. Number one is Cleveland with 163.7. We're talking about an 89.3 yards of difference right there, which is just an absurd number. They also lead the league in points allowed per game. Think about the dominant performances at home. 24-3 against the Bengals, 27-3 against the Titans. Not many people saw those Myles Garrett statistics, Ziggy, because not many people are watching that game by the time it's a blowout in the third quarter. The Cleveland defense, they've just been so good. The only touchdown they allowed was the Pickens 71-yarder against you guys on Monday Night Football. Other than that, they lost to you because their offense screwed up.
We're just a better team.
You don't understand. The Cleveland Browns offense has given up more touchdowns to the opposing team than the Cleveland Browns defense. There's been a scoop and score and a pick six. The Browns defense only won.
That screams crappy quarterback to me. That just screams crappy quarterback.
You're a Browns hater, Jack, and you're also a Ravens hater. So you kind of pit yourself against each other here.
I think right now I hate the Browns more.
Okay, so for that reason, do you like the Ravens?
But no,
pure hatred.
I think I actually like the Browns in this game because of what they've shown they can do so far at home. But for both teams' standpoints, this is a big game for both teams because with the Bengals now being 1-2 off to a sluggish start, this AFC North seems like it will be open. You got the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns all at 2-1. And it's important early on to get that head-to-head victory if you're the Browns or the Ravens and be 3-1 as opposed to 2-2 with head-to-head. I mean, if the Steelers were to lose in Houston, the winner of this game 4 weeks in is in first place.
Yep. Isn't it crazy, too? I feel like the Ravens just find a lot of ways to have moments slip away sometimes.
The Ravens, sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're fine.
It's just a tough matchup for me to really pick a side because Baltimore, especially off a loss where they're a massive favorite, they're tough to bet against because they're a good football team. This will be a low-scoring game that's won hard fought.
At Cleveland's tough, but Baltimore, I was just saying, losing to Indianapolis at home is just such a bad loss. By the end of this year, who knows where the AFC North will be? We all expect it to be pretty close, but when you go back and look and see them losing to Gardner Minshew at home, that could be a game that we look back on and say, wow, they win that. We don't have to rely on tiebreakers. Maybe they just go ahead and it could even matter for 1-seed potential. So that's a huge loss for them, and they're banged up too. Bateman, Odell, this is as of Wednesday. Kyle Hamilton, Justice Hill, Marlon Humphrey, of course, still hurt. There's a lot of guys. I mean, the list goes on and on for Baltimore of injuries. So it's going to be a tough one if you're a Ravens fan going into Cleveland. But, I mean, you always have a chance with Lamar.
To me, right now, it's a bit of a bigger game for Cleveland. Because I think what
because it's the home game, right?
Yeah, what the AFC North will come down to is defending your home field. Like Cleveland has to go to Baltimore later on in the year. Cleveland has to go to Cincinnati. So it's important to pick up a win at home against these teams.
And just a note here, Kyle Hamilton among safeties this year, my good friend.
Oh, yeah. Fellow Irishman.
Yeah, fellow Irishman. First in sacks, he had 3 versus Indy last weekend. First in hurries, first in bad passes, or tied first, and tied second in forced fumbles among safeties this year. I always just look back and I'm like, yep. And Lewis Seen is sitting on the bench in Minnesota. Lewis Seen's on the bench. Andrew Booth.
We traded Kyle Hamilton for Lewis Seen and Andrew Booth, basically, right?
Yeah.
Combined, those guys have played 0 snaps this year.
Oh, and the Lions got Jameson Williams.
You might be a black cloud organization.
One could say. I cannot believe when I look at some. Kwesi got TJ Hawkinson. This isn't a Viking segment. Other than the Hawkinson thing, what the hell's going on? Okay. You got the Browns. We all seem to like the Browns at the moment.
Yeah, I got the Browns in a low, like 16-13 type gritty game.
Which means Ravens probably 35.
35-10. Yeah.
Did you hear what Kyle Hamilton's got a new nickname, actually. I thought this was really cool from Jadeveon Clowney. His nickname is Avatar because he's mastered all 4 elements. He's 6'4". He can run. He can hit. He can catch. He's mastered all of the
this phenomenal nickname.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
Avatar.
Whatever there is, Kyle Hamilton's going to bring it.
That's a really good.
That's a great nickname. That is an all-time. He got a sack. He's gotten interceptions. He's done everything for them this year.
It would be better if the Ravens wore blue instead of purple.
Well, how great would it be if Kyle shaved his head and came out with the arrow on? That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Ravens by a million if that ever happens.
Go for it, Kyle.
Kyle Hamilton, anytime pick if they offer those odds.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.